For every pro, there is a con, and investing in rental properties is no different. Just because it is the absolute perfect investment for me doesn't mean it will be for you. This video is all about the pros and the cons of investing in long-term buy and hold rental properties. Hi y'all. If we haven't met before, then welcome. My name is Lori Livers. I have been a real estate investor for the last few years, and in just under 3 years, I was able to create enough passive income cash flow on a month-to-month basis that I was able to leave my 9-to-5 behind. Rental property has been the very best investment for me. I love it, but it might not be right for everyone. This video is all about the pros, and more importantly, the cons, so that you can decide if investing in long-term buy and hold rental property is right for you. Let's get to it. Let's get started with cash flow, because cash flow is my very most favorite pro of investing in rental properties. Cash flow is the one that allows me to live the life I want to live and not the life I thought I had to live. I don't need to explain to you what is so awesome about cash flow coming in month after month. I bet you're wondering what the con could be around cash flow. Well, the cash flow is not 100% guaranteed because your property will be vacant at some time. It will happen. That's just part of the deal. So you need to be certain that if you are going to invest in rental properties, that you take the time to create and keep appropriate cash reserves on hand so that you can still cover the expenses of the property even if it is vacant. Because while the property is vacant, there will be no cash coming in. And while cash flow is the number one pro for me in investing in long-term buy and hold rental properties, it is not guaranteed. That's just the way it is. Now, let's talk about the expenses that come with owning long-term buy and hold rental properties. And I'm sure you're wondering on this one, what could possibly be the pro around all these expenses that come with owning these houses? Well, you can use these expenses to your benefit for tax purposes because they reduce your taxable income. Our tax structure in the United States is very favorable to real estate investors. So that is a pretty strong pro. However, these expenses must still be paid, and some see this as a really strong con against real estate investing. Now, most expenses can be planned for in the long term. So you are not going to be surprised by most of the expenses that you do have to pay as a long-term buy and hold rental property investor. But you simply cannot plan for everything. And this means you will be faced with unexpected expenses at some point. And these are not fun to deal with. Paying out unexpected money for long-term buy and hold investment property is certainly a con. No one likes that part. Now, a huge pro in investing in long-term buy and hold property are those fantastic tax benefits that I told you about just a few seconds ago. Historically, real estate has been one of the most effective investment vehicles that allows investors to protect much of their investment income. And if you are already thinking of generational wealth, then I believe there is no better way to handle generational wealth than through real estate. However, the tax rules around real estate, as well as everything else, do change from time to time. And if you're somebody that just does not want to get professional help dealing with your taxes because you absolutely need to be able to do it yourself, then this might be a real con for you. Because if you're not a tax accountant or if you're not somebody who specializes in taxes, it can be a real pain to try to keep up with all these tax codes. So I can see how having to do the extra tax work, if that's something you have to be able to do for yourself, could really be a con to getting invested in buy and hold long-term property. Hey, I know a lot of real estate investors don't like to admit that there really are some cons to getting into real estate investing. But there really are some cons. Could you please hit that like button for me if you can appreciate my being real and transparent about the cons, even though I think for me this is the absolutely best investment strategy. Thanks. Now, if you choose to self-manage your property like I do, the process can be very rewarding, and that's a strong pro. But it can also be really challenging, and that's where the con lies. In my childhood, there were some periods of housing insecurity, and as you can imagine, this affected me in some really significant ways. So now that I am in a position to provide safe, clean homes for families, I really get a lot of really rewarding feelings out of that. However, there are some really tough challenges that are going to come along when things don't go according to the rental lease agreement. And I'm talking about evictions, because evictions are a very real thing. It hasn't happened to me yet. I've never had to evict anyone yet, but I will. There will be a time when I have to evict a family from one of my properties. And to be completely transparent with you, I need to admit to you right up front that I will not handle this eviction process myself. I will pay a service to handle this for me. This is simply a situation that I will not handle for myself. So I will work through a service that will handle this for me when my time comes. Because unfortunately, my time will come. For me, even though there is a solution to help insulate me from this con, it is still a big con. Now, a super significant pro in investing in long-term buy and hold rental property is that time is almost always on your side. Time is a really strong pro on your side in that you have the time to hold a cash flowing property long enough to get out from under any mistakes you might have made in your purchasing and rehabbing process. And time is also really on your side in terms of appreciation. And that appreciation is a fantastic pro to owning rental properties. Historically, real estate has always grown in value if given enough time. And most often, this growth has been pretty significant, and it is an incredible value over time. However, time can also be a con for an unprepared real estate investor. And this is because investing in rental property does require you to tie up a bit of your cash. Your investment in real estate is not liquid. And this means if you need to get your cash out of an investment quickly, time is not on your side because it's going to take some time to get your cash. Now, to get your cash out of your property, you can of course sell it. You can cash out, refi it. You can take other types of home equity loans against it. But none of these processes moves quickly. It takes time to get your cash if you need it. And some consider this to be a real con to investing in rental properties, especially if your particular situation requires that you have access to your cash at a point whenever you might need it. Now for me, none of these cons is significant enough to keep me from investing in rental properties because I absolutely believe I do a lot to minimize all of these cons. I even choose to self-manage my own properties for now. And this requires me to be much more active in my portfolio than I will be when I do move to a property management structure. Now, utilizing a property manager to handle the day-to-day aspects of managing your property will insulate you from most of the irritations and cons that come along with owning rental properties. It's in this day-to-day management that most of the horror stories that you hear about investing in rental properties come from. So a property manager is a great tool for you to utilize if you want to get invested in real estate, but you don't want to have to deal with the most common irritations that come along with owning long-term rental properties. However, I understand not everyone's like me. Not everyone wants to manage their own properties, and not everyone wants to manage a property manager so that the property manager can manage their rental properties. And having to deal with some of these kinds of issues that are absolutely going to come up is a big con for those people because they just don't want to have to deal with it. It is a huge deal breaker for a lot of people that choose not to get invested in rental properties because they just don't want to deal with all these little irritations. Now, if you are considering getting started in the adventures of rental properties, I would really encourage you to stop and question anybody involved in rental properties that tells you there are no cons, especially if they're trying to sell you something. Do your own homework and decide, can you deal with the cons? Because if you decide you can deal with the cons and you can get comfortable knowing that unexpected things are going to come up because that's just the way it is, then I hope you will consider investing in rental properties, because rental properties offer an amazing opportunity to really change your life in some really significant ways. Obviously, I believe the pros outweigh the cons. I believe the pros outweigh the cons so significantly that there is no turning back for me. I love doing this and I have no intentions of stopping. I'd love to know, what are you thinking? Let's chat down in the comments. And please, while you're there, consider hitting that subscribe button, maybe even ring the bell, so that we can hang out for a few minutes a couple times a week. Even though there is so much more good than bad in rental properties, I'm excited to share the whole truth with you, both the good and the bad. And I would absolutely love it if you decide to come along on this investing adventure with me. Right now, I am waiting for you in this video that you see here, right here on your screen. What do you think? Do you have a few minutes to come hang out with me right over here? I hope you do. But until I see you over there, bye y'all. Do you ever have days where you just can't get your words out? Like, I don't know what's wrong with me today. I cannot get my words out. I cannot find my thoughts. I'm lost. I'm just lost hanging out here trying to talk about real estate. And I love this stuff, so I need to get found. I need to get found real quick. Yeah, please do hit that subscribe button because I promise I'm gonna do better at finding my words and I'm gonna get better at making these videos, and this is gonna be a whole lot of fun. So I'd love to take you along on the YouTube adventure that shows all of my real estate investing adventures. Come on, let's go. I'll see you there. Bye.